Welcome to H2K Infosys. H2K Infosys is a e-verify business based in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. We provide 100% job-oriented, instructor-led, face-to-face, true live online software training programs. It also includes access to cloud test lab with software tools. We provide live project for you to work on. We also provide assistance with mock interviews, resume preparation and review, and job placement assistance. H2K Infosys is trusted by so many students across the world. H2K Infosys provides world-class services in IT training with real-time project work for corporates and individuals, special IT training for MS students in the United States, software design, development, QA manual and automation, performance testing and maintenance, IT staff augmentation, job placement assistance, and tech support.
So the Ajax function request, you can see that the first statement is calling another method because we need to initialize our request object or else we can process the remaining points. So currently you can see that I'm calling get Ajax object method just like how you can call one method from another method in our Java code. In JavaScript also you can call another method. And after that I am registering my listener. You can see that Ajax request dot on ready state change. That is the property. You can see that I have registered with a method called get status. So this is that particular function. So that means whenever a ready state has changed, ready state values, it will be between 0 and 4. Normally 4 will suggest that server has prepared the response and it is ready to respond back to the client. So for each and every notification, it will call the get status method. That means for 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. For all the 5 values, it will call the get status method. And once after that, once you have registered the listener, you can place at any place. There won't be any issue. And the file creation, it will be based on new. Here you can see that JavaScript source file. You can create based on new JavaScript source file. Normally the file will be placed under the web content because the file will supposed to be available on the server side. So the next step is open the connection to the server. This will be based on our Ajax request dot open method by passing 3 parameters. So here you can see that I already got the Ajax request object and I have registered the listener. The third step got completed. Sorry, second step got completed. The next step is Ajax request dot open and the type is get method and the server resource is date.jsp. Go to date.jsp. So in date.jsp, there is not much code. It is just displaying a new date. And here you can see that I'm using assignment operator. That means it will display here. That means new date is the response of your date.jsp file. So here date.jsp is our resource and I'm specifying that this is an asynchronous call. That means the browser was not required to wait until and unless it gets a response from the server side. Finally, Ajax request dot send. We need to send the request to the server based on object dot send method. So Ajax request dot send, it accepts an object. Currently, I don't want to pass any information to the server. I'm just getting the information from the server itself. So that's the reason I have specified this as a null value. We'll see how to replace this with actual value later. Finally, for our get status method, in your registered function, set the date value for your front end. So this is our response. Get status is our response, nothing but just like a listener. In your index page, you can see that for input type text, I have given some name to this. The name is time. If Ajax in response, see this method will call for all the status 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. But here ready state 4 means the server response is ready now. And after that, you need to verify whether the server response status is 200 OK or not. See, this is a HTTP call. You are using get method and you are sending some request to the server. Sometimes the resource might not be available. That means you will get a 404 error. Sometimes the server might be busy or it won't be able to respond back to the client or your Ajax code, and it will respond back with server errors 500. But we are only interested to get the response status as 200, nothing but OK response, server has processed successfully. Once you have verified server response status is 4, and also you need to check whether the HTTP response status is 200 or not. Finally, you need to get the response in your registered function, set the date value for your front end. That means you are going to get some response from server. Normally, the response handling will be of 2 types. The first one is response text, and the second one is response XML. Either of the choices you can use. Response text, normally if you want to get only a single information, then go for a text value. Response XML, if you are getting multiple contents, just like user content, the whole user content based on Ajax code, go for XML and iterate through the XML to fetch each and every value based on DOM parser kind of stuff. So normally in our case, response text, you are going to get a simple date object information, simple date value. That means you are going to get a response text. You can see that I'm fetching Ajax request dot response text, and I'm setting it to myForm.time.value. This is pure JavaScript code. MyForm. So currently myForm.time, nothing but we are referring to input type text, and after that you are specifying the value is Ajax request dot response text. That means you are setting the time value with your Ajax response. If we comment Ajax request dot send, then it won't send any request to the server. Send is the method which will actually submit the request to the server. Let us execute this one. Normally, IE browser caches the value. That is like the HTML cache it will use, browser cache it will use, and whatever the value it has used previously, or whatever the response it got from the server, let us say I have entered some name, Steven. So if I click on tab, it will submit a request by using Ajax script, and it will populate the time value. So now you can see that it has contacted the server and it has displayed the response back to the client. Let us say I enter here. You can see that now I got the latest value. So if I remove here and if I enter one more time, it has still displayed the same value. Normally Ajax browser caches the value, and you need to go through our HTML specification on how to remove the cache. You just need to go through that, and you need to use the same technique how to remove the IE cache. But in case of Mozilla, it won't make the cache, and with each and every request, it will submit the request to the server and it will get a new value. You can see that I got a new value without changing anything with respect to Mozilla. So normally what happens was, whenever I click on tab button, this event will get triggered. This will go to Ajax function request, and it will create the Ajax object, and it will register the listener for response. It will open a connection to the server, nothing but your date.jsp file. Finally, it will send the request to the server based on send method. With each and every response, because you have registered on ready state change method, it will call this get state method. But within get state, you can see that I'm only interested to verify whether the ready state equal to 4 and also status equal to 200. The reason for that is, let us say if you have some issue on the server side, you don't want to display that issue to the client side using script code, because the script might execute or might not. Sometimes script will be blocked at the server side or the browser side, client browser side. So whenever there is an exception occurred processing the server also, you just need to write the try catch block at this level, and you are supposed to handle the error instead of displaying to the client or browser. So here you can see that no, jQuery is somewhat advanced for Ajax. Here you can see that the remaining ready state values, the value 0 means not initialized, and the value 1, it has just established the connection, and 2, server has received the request, 3, server is processing now, and finally 4, response is ready, and the scripting code, the server side handling has completed. Let us take one more example. So in this example, we'll see username availability, just like all our registration forms processes. Normally, you will enter an username. Once you have entered an username, on the right side, it will display whether the username is available or not. So that means whenever you are entering some keys like C, H, R, I, S, with each and every key, it will display some information on the right side. At the same level, it will display whether the username is available or not. So right now, we are going to write the same stuff, but we are not going to contact the database on the business logic side, and we'll just write a simple logic. It will take the user input on each key press, and it will verify whether the string length, so the value whatever that we are entering, will just take in a string, and we'll verify what the length of string un will, on the business logic side, will verify what is the length of the string. If it is odd, will display username is not available. If it is even, will display username is available. So business logic side, you can change at any point of time. You already know how to contact the server, so contacting the database is not a big issue. But our intention is how to take the username and send it to the Ajax, and also how to submit to the server by using get request. Finally, we need to see how to display this username is not available and username is available strings onto the front end without the form submission. This is our second form. In our second form, the name of the form is my form, and you can see that it consists of only two fields. The first one is a text box, and the next one is a division. Division consists of an ID, and it doesn't contain any kind of code within the division. So we'll use the same division ID itself to populate our username availability, and also we'll use input type text. Under the same level, I'm using the onChange event, which is key up. Whenever we have entered some stuff, it will call the Ajax method Ajax user request. So that means whenever you have entered some information, it will directly send the request to the server by using our Ajax user request method. So in Ajax user request method, just like how we have created our get Ajax object, XMLHttpRequest object, here also we are calling the same JavaScript code, but this will create one more object because this is our second form. And the next thing is, we'll come back to this line once again. The next thing is, I'm writing a listener. You can see that I have registered one by using getReadyStatus method. Previously we have written getStatus method, and now we have written getReadyStatus method. Once after that, you can see that I'm retrieving the username based on document.getElementById. Not sure whether you guys are aware of JavaScript or not. Document is used in JavaScript. Document is used to refer to the current JSP page or current HTML page. Whenever you specify document in JavaScript, you have the access to all the fields within your JSP page. All the fields, nothing but whatever the field that consists of a certain ID or name. So currently, you can see that form has a name, my form. Input type text, here I'm using an ID called username. For division, I'm using an ID called valid username. So with JavaScript, whenever you say document dot get element by ID, the get element by ID method will identify the ID within your HTML page, and it will provide the access to the contents of that particular ID. So now when I call document dot get element by ID of username, this will provide an access to this particular text box and provide it to you within your script code. So when you specify document by dot get element by ID, it will refer to username property, and when you say value, it will return the actual content, whatever that you have entered onto the text box. That means just like the leave value, currently you have entered the leave value into the text box. So for this text box, you're going to provide some ID, and based on the ID, you can retrieve the data. Currently, the ID name is username. So you got the username here. If the username is 0, that means, let us say currently user has entered some information and after that he has removed. So this time it's not required for us to send the request back to the server. On key up, nothing but even when he deletes or when he enters, this will send a request to the script code. So whenever he has returned, we just need to verify whether the string length is 0 or not, so that I'm returning at the same time instead of submitting it to the server. We'll come back to this line. And the next thing is, you need to prepare the URL. Currently, you can see that I'm not preparing the URL at the open level itself, and I have created a separate variable URL equal to, currently the resource is user validation.jsp page. And with get request, normally the query parameters are just like your request parameters for your servlet or JSP pages. So whenever you submit a form, normally when you submit a form, these text box data will get added to your URL, and then only it will submit the request to the server side. So here you are the one supposed to externally prepare that particular format, because you don't have the browser to prepare this particular URL. So it's your responsibility to prepare the query parameters format, user validation.jsp question mark username equal to, and I am appending username, whatever the username I have received from the text box, and just appending it here as a query parameter. You guys already aware of query parameters. So I'm setting it as an URL and I'm submitting it by using get request, and finally I'm sending it to the server. If it is a post request, you don't need to write these parameters at this level and take the same content and put it in the send method. So whatever that you are sending at this level, you just copy that and place at this level in case of a post method, because post method doesn't contain any kind of query parameters appended to the URL. That's the only difference for form submission in case of get and post. I have already explained, Jitin. Yeah, we'll discuss about that in a second. Just give me a second, please. So once you have prepared this particular URL, when you call the open method, you can see that the request will be submitted to the server. So your user validation.jsp has the capability of receiving your request parameters. So currently you can just call request.get parameter of username and it can get the value, and once after that it can process the username whether it is even or odd, and it can respond back to the server side. So currently get URL here true indicates that the async value, asynchronous code value, nothing but whether the browser has to wait until and unless it gets the response from the scripting code, or it can process with the rest of the page. That means if you set this value as false, that means you are asking to wait for the response from the server. So that means it will make as a synchronous call, and you won't be able to do any kind of stuff onto the front end until and unless you get a response from this particular scripting code. But our intention is not to wait until we get a response from the script server, from the server. That's the reason most of the time we'll set it as a true value only. And now come back to our onReady state change method. So in onReady state change, we have specified that get ready state method, get ready status method. Here also the same code, ready state 4 and status equal to 200. Or else let us take our server side code, then we'll come back to our scripting response code. User validation. User validation, this is a simple business logic code. Here I have written a scriptlet which will get the parameter username, and I am verifying whether the username dot length mod2 equal to 0, nothing but it will just return in case of an even value. At that time I am preparing a response string called username available, else I am preparing a response called username already in use. Finally I am printing this response, so that means this response content will be output for our JavaScript code. Once it has processed the whole code, it will respond with ready state 4 and status 200. So now you can see that I'm taking the response Ajax request.response text, just like here also we have received in the same way. Now we'll get that one, and once after that what we want to do, we just want to insert the data at the division level. There is one special method or attribute you can say, which is innerHTML, which will provide you the direct access to the element. So whenever you say innerHTML, so currently you can see that we have prepared one division, not this one. division. See, this is just like an element which is available on your HTML page, but it won't contain any kind of stuff on your HTML, because division is just like to divide some part of the page. So you are just getting some pixels out of your HTML page, but it won't contain any kind of stuff until you place some tags within your division. Currently, I'm not placing anything. So if you want to get the reference to the division, you need to use an attribute called innerHTML. So once I have retrieved the valid username dot innerHTML, I'm just setting it to the null value, so that for each and every request, or whenever I have removed the username, see, I can enter and I can remove, but I don't want the username validity at this level, even though if there is no content. I'm supposed to take care about if user has removed the whole content. I don't want to see any kind of stuff at this level, whether the username is available or not. That makes sense. So that's the reason for each and every request, I'm just making it as a null value. And if the length is 0, you can see that I'm just setting it as simple string, empty string, so that it won't display anything onto the front end. But in case of actual response, you can see that I'm taking the response in a response object, and I'm setting it as document.getElementById.innerHTML equal to our response. We have mentioned that we have full access to our HTML page. That means we have the access to all the fields along with their attributes as well. So currently you can see that I'm just verifying whether the response length is greater than 30 or not. So it is just like a dummy code I have written. Come back to our validate request. So here you can see that the response string is somewhat bigger when it is an error case. When it is a success case, it is almost, the length is less than 15 or 20 characters, but when it is high, it is more than 30 characters. So I'm just taking that as a verification, and I'm getting our valid username again, and this time I want to change the style color. I'm setting it as a red color. That means by using your get element by ID, not only the value, you have the access to all the attributes as well. Currently I'm changing the color value to red in case if username is already in use, and in case if the username is available, I'm displaying it as a green color. Not only style.color, you can change anything, style.background or style.width, size, any kind of stuff, but the property should be more specific one. And here you can see that if the Ajax request.status is equal to 404, by mistake I have placed it inside, normally it should stay outside. If the Ajax request.status equal to 404, nothing but page not found, I'm just printing some alert box which is page not found. That means this was the status, the ready status was 4, but the status received from the response is not 200 response. Resource was not available. At that time, it will just specify 404 page not found. Drop down code snippet means, Jitin? Control space, when we click on control space, normally all the stuff will populate. Are you asking about the same? Yeah, in case of JavaScript, I don't think it was available. For some of the methods you can get, but for not all the properties. When you say document dot, you can get all the methods that are available, but sometimes it won't populate this kind of properties, style dot color and all, you are supposed to write on your own. But when you say document or Ajax request, it will provide you, but not all the properties it will provide. Even if you write Ajax request dot ready state change, it won't provide you this. So now let us go and execute our validate request.
So many of our students have given testimonials on how our training programs are. You will find them on kudzu.com and on our website h2kinfosys.com. On our website h2kinfosys.com, you will also find more detailed information on who we are, the courses that we offer, what each course covers. Also, if you're interested in a demo program, please register on our homepage on the left-hand side. Just give us more information about yourself and we will send you a link for a demo class. The demo class is absolutely free. Experience our commitment by just attending an orientation workshop at no cost. Our team of faculty and advisors are here to guide you with the right information. If you still have more questions, please feel free to call us. Call us at 770-777-1269. This is a United States number. If you're calling from the UK, call us at 020-337-17615. You can also email us at training@h2kinfosys.com or h2kinfosys@gmail.com. Thank you for watching our videos. We wish you a great career in information technology.